Oh, it's going. Okay. So the ongoing documentation of my record collection is going to continue here. I'm up to the second half of the C's in my record collection, which is roughly alphabetized. And I did a part one of that C's that you can check. I have a playlist of all of these going through my record collection down below. For those who don't know, my name is Jay. I own a vintage shop in Dunnville, Ontario, Canada, and which I've sold and still sell records out of for the past getting near 20 years now. Collected my whole life, and I just thought I'd get to the point where, you know what, I'd like to document the record collection that I have, and sort of that's the journey that I'm on right now. I have, if you go look at the channel, all the different playlists, I have things where I go on picks, where I pick records, some of which end up in the store, most of which end up in my personal collection. So yeah, if you enjoy this kind of thing, throw something down in the comments. I'd love to hear from y'all. And we'll go look at what the second half of the C's look like. Okay, so there they are. This is takes up roughly about one of, you know, the Kalax units. Takes up about one full cube and a half. And then the first section that I did, the first half of the C's, that took up that. So it's roughly 3 Kallax cube units. I don't know how many records are in here. I haven't done a count. Maybe I'll do that and go through it afterwards, and I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, so it sort of runs this way and then that way, roughly alphabetized. So this will sort of be going a bit in reverse, and we'll just get into it. Okay. I love Sam Cooke. The first time somebody played A Change Is Gonna Come, it was just, I mean, I was an angsty little teenager, and I just thought it was one of the most beautiful songs. And even though I am, well, as you've seen in the video, white and middle class, so I haven't had much in the way of oppression that somebody like Sam Cooke would have faced. That I got such a feeling from that particular song, and I absolutely have been in love with everything Sam Cooke since. This one is particularly great because it's his tribute to Billie Holiday. Try and track it down if you can. It's actually really difficult to find, I've always found. This is on the REO Canadian label, which a lot of these stuff are going to be on the Canadian label. Twisting the Night Away, and somebody did a little bit of graffiti on there, unfortunately. It's still an amazing album. Shake, that has A Change Is Gonna Come on it. And if you see the prices on here, I'm sure I've mentioned it in every one of these videos I've done, but if it's your first time looking at one of these of mine, I do that in case, like, I pass away and then my better half is like, I'm just going to stick them all in a garage sale for $1, which is great for, you know, whoever happens to come along and find them for $1, but I would like her to get some decent money out of them and not just give them away. So that's the only reason why. Sam Cooke on tour. Is this the first? Yeah, I think this is the first LP. Yep. So this is 1958. This is a UK pressing. Strangely enough, there it is on the Keen label. Has the original inner sleeve there, made in Great Britain. I don't know if any of you have seen, there is a documentary on the life of Sam Cooke, which I was not aware of until I saw it on Netflix. Check it out. It's well worth it. I forget the name of, it's part of a series of a bunch of different musical documentaries they did, but worth checking out. He had a very interesting life. Another Sam Cooke. Sam and the hits of the 50s. My Kind of Blues. Sam Cooke. It's got it down as folk favorites, but, and I guess these actually are a little more folky type songs. Sweet Low Chariot, Just a Country Boy. Ain't That Good News. I have 2 copies. That's Canadian mono. I think the other one might have been a stereo, or maybe I should go through my collection and pull out the doubles and stick them in the store. The Contours, you know, the track, Do You Love Me? But this album's really great. It's on Gordy. It's 1962. This is no, that's a U.S. pressing. I thought it was a Canadian one, but no, it's a U.S. first pressing. Okay, Stompin Tom Connors. As I mentioned, I am in Canada. For those of you who are outside of Canada, you may not heard of Stompin Tom Connors, but in Canada, he is a bit of a legend. I try to explain it to my American friends by saying he's kind of like Woody Guthrie, Johnny Cash, and I don't know who else, sort of rolled into one. Like, that is who he is. He is a folk singer, but so much more. He was a super proud Canadian. He started his own label to try to support smaller artists that he felt were getting ignored. And he always used to absolutely beguile the Canadian radio stations for not giving Canadian artists enough play. He played constantly, was touring, and just generally, and he has such humor. That's why I say some of the Woody Guthrie stuff had such humor, and he has a lot of humor in his songs. If you've ever watched Hockey Night in Canada, the hockey song that they play, that's Stompin Tom Connors. So there you go. This is 60 old time favorites, like a box set. These are all usually on his own label or a very small Canadian label. What I say, Stompin Tom sings 60 more, and that's on his label. Boot was the label that he started up. This is actually a later one. I forget exactly what year this was, but I believe it's in the 90s. And particularly tough because all 90s pressings, as I'm sure most of you know, are particularly tough to track down. And Stompin Tom at this point was putting stuff out on the Capitol label as well as on his own Boot. So there it is, Stompin Tom and the Hockey. So look, there's Ken Dryden. Look at him. So yeah, that's worth it. Bud the Spud and the Ketchup, like, they're so good. He's just great. One of these I think is autographed, actually. I've had a couple of Stompin Tom autographs, and I got a feeling. So the Horseshoe Tavern is a legendary place in Toronto, and he used to play there on the regular. Later on, the Horseshoe kind of became like a punk rock, rock and roll, hardcore, like underground indie music type place. I used to go there quite a bit to see lots and lots of shows, but everybody knew Stompin Tom was there at some point. No, that's not the autographed one. Anyway, there's another copy of Bud the Spud. Oh, that's why, because that one's autographed. That's it. There you go. With another big load of potatoes from Stompin Tom. Lord. Okay, Arthur Connolly, just an incredible soul singer. Super tight, funky background music to the whole thing. This is a US mono promo copy on Adco. Chris Connor, just a beautiful voice in general. I love these Atlantic covers. I would have bought it if it was terrible, just for the cover, and that is a US pressing. There's another one, Witchcraft. Jazzy type stuff. Okay, so Coltrane. I love Coltrane, but when I discovered Coltrane, it was largely in the 90s, so I bought mostly CDs. And often when I would find a really good Coltrane record, it was worth so much money that I usually just sold it, because the recurring theme in these videos and collections is I've often needed money, and records have helped me out along the way. So these are reissues. This is Soul Train. This is not. This is on Impulse, but it's got My Favorite Things, which is one of my most favorite. He's done it so many different ways, and every way sounds amazing. So there you go. It's on the Impulse. Olay reissue. This is on Impulse 2. Coltrane Live at Birdland. That's an original. You see that's the Canadian Spartan yellow label. Hard to make out there, but you can. Alice Coltrane. Sadly, I do not have enough Alice Coltrane because I only have one, and it is really, really good. Lord of Lords. Ornette Coleman. It's weird how, well, I guess they're all C's. Not weird anyway. So this is 69, Change of the Century. It's a USA pressing. This This is a repress, but I think it's a 1980s repress. New York Public Library. Somebody stole this from the New York Public Library. Sorry, New York. So Jerry Cole was, for those of you who don't know, an amazing studio musician. He took under tons of different pseudonyms, wrote a lot of the instrumental guitar music. Some of it's like purely psychedelic, some of it's just sort of garagey. This is more surfy. So Jerry Cole and the Spacemen, Outer Limits, and he's doing things like Pipeline and Tequila and Wipeout and Sukiyaki and things like that. Bootsy. Can't say enough about Bootsy Collins when you played with James Brown and then go on to just be yourself and delight. So what else? There's another Bootsy single. I thought I had more Bootsy, but I really guess I don't. Look at that. Look at that. Look at it. Look at him. Look at them all. I just wish the thing about me that's like, I'm never going to have an album photo that will be, A, I'm never going to have an album photo because I never put in an album, but B, I will never look that cool. There are no photos of me looking that cool anywhere in my whole thing. Actually, there's one of me on a skateboard ollieing that's pretty rad, but other than that. So the Collectors are I believe, Vancouver-based Canadian band. Psychedelic music, they started out like this, as psychedelic, and then eventually they became the band Chilliwack, which was more sort of like classic rock type stuff. But any of these Collectors records are really good. They're like some heavy psych, a little poppy at times, but still great. That's the other one from '68. Apparently, I got 2 copies of it. I wonder why. Is one mono and one stereo? That's usually the case. Jason Collett. Is this on the... Arts and Crafts label. He actually came to town, which we don't get being a small town very often. People playing, and so this was a gift from a friend who went to the show. I was out of town, sadly, at the time, and it's signed there. Okay, I love Leonard Cohen. I discovered his writing. I knew of his music, but that took a little while longer, but his writing and always sort of thing. And I just, there was a brief period in my life where I wanted to be a poet, and then I realized that it's not really a real job. I'm still a poet. You just can't make money for it unless now apparently on Instagram you can, or like, I don't know, maybe even YouTube. Maybe that's what I'll do in my second half of my life. I'll become like a YouTube poet. Anyways, for now we're talking about Leonard Cohen, and Thanks for the Dance. This is one of the earliest. So this is 1966. It is a collection of Canadian poets. And I believe it's one of the earliest recordings of Leonard. It's just him reading his poetry, and there's some other really great Canadian poets on here. I mean, they're all pretty amazing, but Gwendolyn McEwen is phenomenal. Irving Layton's pretty good, but Irving Layton had that machismo that kind of turned me off a little bit, but overall, and he took Leonard under his wing. He really did. The Montreal poets looked out for each other. New Skin for the Old Ceremony. What is this? You Want It Darker, which is a great record. This is a promo copy of I'm Your Man. The Best of Leonard Cohen, which Ween did, one of the most amazing tribute covers ever. If you know, you know. This is a 180 reissue. I think it's from Germany. I don't know why I have it, but I like the label on it. Live songs. Various positions, songs from a room, songs of love and hate. I am missing a couple. I wonder where those are. Another recurring theme on this is, in these videos, is I often don't know where some of my favorite records are. That's because I'm not an organized person in any way, shape, or form. But speaking of organization, I'm just going to pause it here for a second, stand these ones up, and then go over to the other side over here. And we're back. You know what? I do want to mention this. Like, if you have a larger record collection, I recommend doing something like this. because I have had so much fun doing this, going back, because there's so many records I forget I have, or ones that I love that, you know, sometimes when you're faced with a giant wall of music, you kind of freeze up and you're like, oh man, what should I pull? And it's just so kind of makes me fall back in love with my record collection, just going through it like this and seeing all the little surprises that I forgot about and things like that. So I do recommend anybody just give this a try. Even if it's just for your own enjoyment, just, you know, pull out a couple of sections and flip through them, because you'll find some stuff you probably forgot about. Curve, I love Curve. I cannot remember her name now. The lead singer was a huge crush, because, I mean, Rachel Goswell and Liz from Cocteau Twins, and basically any cool female lead singer for, you know, a boy in his late teens and early 20s who was a terrible musician, just loved anybody with musical talent. So there you go. The Cure. Now, this one hurts a little for me because again, it was another I needed some money thing, and I was doing record shows at the time, and I did need some money. You know, when you have a kid, these things happen, and I knew that my Cure would sell tout de suite like that, and so I brought pretty much my entire Cure collection there, and I sold a lot of it, and some I will never get back again. Like, I'm not going to get the UK first pressings of Three Imaginary Boys or any of the rare single. They're just not coming back. I had picture discs for Disintegration and all that stuff. These were all ones that didn't sell for some reason or other, and then I made enough money from what sold, and I immediately stopped putting the Cure out. But this is what's left, so a little bit of pain, but that's such a good record, Disintegration. Let's Go to Bed single. Peel Sessions. Sadly, it's got a little bit of water damage down there, but still the record plays great. This, let's see, U.S. release only. Yeah, it is. Okay, so this is 17 Seconds and Faith. And so they're both in there. It was released like that in the U.S. for some reason or other. I can't remember what it was about. Just Like Heaven. Excellently covered by Dinosaur Jr. Head in the Door. Actually, I lie. This one I went out and bought myself, because it is, I think it might just be my favorite Cure record. Maybe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Okay, so my battery ran out as I was flipping from Head on the Door, which I was mentioning might just be my favorite Cure record. And then In Between Days, the single. So we'll continue. The Walk. It is, what is that? The Last Dance in Fascination Street, 1990 pressing of a single. The Cure, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. The cover got damaged. It is still one of my favorite records by The Cure. Now, speaking of favorite bands, The Cult. The Cult, the first time I heard She Sells Sanctuary, everything about it blew me away. The guitar, just the driving beat, Ian Astbury's just vocal style. It was so unusual yet familiar at the same time, and it was like driving rock and roll, but with like that sort of jangly, phasey, affected sound, and I just loved everything about it. I almost, and I say almost, met Ian Astbury. He it was fairly well known that he was dating a Canadian lady, so he was often here in Canada, and he was also sort of friends with one of the local, at the time, alternative DJs named Chris Shepherd, who eventually sort of went completely like into rave culture and anyways. So a friend of mine and I had gotten nosebleed seats at Maple Leaf Gardens to see REM on the Green Tour. But two friends of ours, who were young ladies, very pretty, they had floor seats. The thing is about being a pretty young lady is that you can often trick men into doing things for you. And so we met outside, And then they said, well, why don't you guys come down to the floors? And we're like, oh, they won't even let you through there unless you show a ticket. And they're like, oh, we'll just give you our ticket stubs. And I'm like, well, how are you guys going to get through? And they're like, oh, don't worry. We've already flirted with the guy who checks that stuff. So we're like, okay. So they walk through. And then we waited outside for like 10 minutes or so. And everybody started walking back in. And we're like, okay, well, we'll go try this and take the tickets. While we're waiting out there and everybody clears out, there is Ian Astbury just standing there. And he looks like Ian Astbury. He had the big furry cap on, giant things. He looked a little green, like the palette, his color was not good. And his girlfriend was there basically holding him up. And I kind of looked, I'm like, dude, is that Ian Astbury? And, you know, this was when the Cult were like huge at that time. Like, I think it was right around when Electric was coming out or had come out. It was just about to. And then his girlfriend kind of looked at us like, not a good time. So we sort of respected that. I think he wasn't having the best of times in general. And anyways, it worked. The girls were right. We just showed our ticket stubs and in we went. So there you go. One for the ladies. She Sells Sanctuary. It's a 2-disc set with various different listings on it. This is, it's one of the first, like, I don't know. Anyways, it's a gold picture disc. Limited to 5,000. It's sort of one of the first records, that's what I was going to say, that like I spent some real coin on, because this was hard to get in Canada. It's a UK pressing only, and it was expensive new in the store. Like, it wasn't the price of a regular record, but I convinced myself to get it, and I'm really glad I did, because I still have it. Just love, it's like a perfect record for me. So perfect that I have several copies. That is because there is in the Canadian version, there is a gatefold version and a non-gatefold version, and I have both because that's just how I collect. I don't know why. Another version, the Howling Mix of Seaside Sanctuary, which is great. Sonic Temple. This was where I started to lose it a little bit with the Cult. Electric was still good. This is where they sort of started turning into, I think, a little bit more too rock and roll-y, Guns N' Roses-ish, which, you know, at the time, that was how you made records. But I still like this record, because I think this has Firewoman on it, which was one of my favorite tracks by them, because I had a friend, the same girl who snuck us in to go see REM, who had beautiful red hair, and so we always referred to her as the Firewoman. And yeah, I have somewhere, I don't know where it is right now, there was a version, and I bought it, that came with a holographic like sleeve that went over the record itself, and the hologram is this basically, and that was like new tech. Like, hologram was like, whoa, that's crazy, it's like bouncing off the page. It was just everything, so you had to buy that. Live at the Lyceum, the Rain single, Wildflower single. I guess there's two different versions. This is the Canadian one. That's right. This is a double. Most of the Canadian stuff came out on double for some reason. This one has like an interview and stuff like that in it. That's the UK pressing. She Sells Sanctuary, the long version. That's the UK pressing. She Sells Sanctuary, the Howling Mix. I think this one is UK as well. Possibly not. Dreamtime. Love Removal Machine. Unfortunately, does not have the poster, probably because I put it up on my wall and left it there. Southern Death Cult. And there you go. Canadian band, Cub, Box of Hair. Cub's great. Track them down. Anything you pick up. It's like, not that it matters, but it's an all-girl band, and they were so much fun. The Crystals, phenomenal band. I had their first record. Again, don't know where it is right now. It's the one with the car on it. I don't know where it is because it's not there. Okay, so I passed on this record so many times when I would find it, because I wasn't a huge fan of like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young and all that stuff. It's warmed on me over time. I love Neil Young. I love, you know, the Hollies, and like, so I should like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and you know, I do a bit more. David Crosby always kind of, I don't know why. Anyways, I finally bought this because it was so cheap at a garage sale. It was like a couple of bucks. I'm like, what are you going to do? It's only a couple of bucks. Like, it's like a coffee. So I bought it, and it is really, really good. It is such, it's like a West Coast canyon, like jam session. Everybody's on here. Joni's on here, and Mitchell, like everybody is on this record. All his friends are there. And it is really good. It's very jammy, sort of loose, but it is a great thing, and you should probably get a copy. And there you go, Deja Vu. I love Deja Vu. I think it's a great record. I really do. I turned around on it. It took me a while, but it is a great record. Four-Way Street, not my favorite. I think this is a German pressing. That's why I decided to get that. Chrome, there's sort of like a, I don't want to say like Suicide, but like industrial. No, I don't even know if it's industrial. I don't know. Check it out because you'll probably like it. I did. Anyways, Red Exposure, worth it. Creedence. All Creedence is amazing. There is just, I don't know, like, you can hear the dogs barking upstairs. Just try to ignore that. This is, I believe, a Dutch pressing. I don't know what that says. Society Octopus. I don't know. Welcome. So I can't speak, I don't know how to, no. So, yeah, that is basically the CCR record. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the dog sounds upstairs. So there is another one there, Pendulum, yeah, Revival, perfect. Green River, oh, such a good, these are all great. These, I don't know, I probably should put this one out in the store. It's just a collection where they put basically the two records onto one. It's kind of handy to have, but I've already got all the records there, see? Here's the thing, man, Cream is one of those bands that I like them, but I often think I don't. I don't know if that makes sense. It makes no sense to me. But yeah, Disraeli Gears is it's a great record, man. You know, Wheels of Fire, it's a great record too. But again, like, if I'm sitting there, I rarely put these on. I don't know why, because they're both really good. I mean, I think it's that, man, this is going to make, I'm not a Clapton fan. I'm just not. I don't like his solo stuff. I never have. I don't know why. I like the stuff he did with the Yardbirds. It's just that, I don't know, British blues, but this is psychedelia, and the Brits were so good at it. And this is great. I've just got to get over the whole thing. Okay, Crash Vegas. This was like my high school breakup record. Like, every time I broke up with somebody, or they broke up with me, more often than not, because why wouldn't you? This was my go-to record. They're a Canadian band, and they're just beautiful. It's female singer, some of the most beautiful lyrics and poignant lyrics, at least to a teenage boy. Speaking of being a teenage boy, the Cramps. This is a U.S. repress. Again, sadly, my Cramps collection took a big hit. I had a little more than that before, but again, sometimes you need money, so you sell things that sell really quick. It happened to Black Flag in my collection, and sadly it happened to Cramps. But I kept some of my favorite ones. Songs the Lord Taught Us. Just a classic. Bad Music for Bad People. And then Gravest Hits. And I love this because Alex Chilton produced it, which, again, perfect. Junkies, one of my favorite bands of all time. I've seen them several times, and I just can't get enough of Margot Timmons' voice. The rest of the band is just incredible Canadian musicians. And like when Lou Reed says his favorite version of Sweet Jane was by the Junkies, that's all you need to know. That's it. That's all you need to know. Caution Horses, which is the third LP. This is a little Caution Horses press package, which I kept. This was their, first LP, White's Offer Now. And this was on the Latent label, which was their record label. And then there's Sweet Jane Misguided. It's like a bonus song for Elvis, bonus track. Just like a promo EP, which I get. Okay, so the Trinity Sessions, which this is one of the greatest records made of all time. You'll notice they're very different looking covers, and that is because one was by RCA when they got signed by a major, and if I'm not mistaken, this one, I don't have the thing out, but this one you will find is on their Latent recording, which is their label, and they basically, on the strength of this, RCA offered them, and then I think later allowed Latent to still release this. So promo Sweet Jane, And then Sun Comes Up 10-inch. So there you go. Count Floyd. Okay, like, you can tell I'm Canadian because here it is. Count Floyd, SCTV, classic character. It's just it's a 4-song mini EP. It doesn't need to be in your collection, but it should be up on your wall. Psychotic Reaction, one of the greatest psych songs ever. Is Psychotic Reaction. The band is Count 5, and this, I believe, yeah, I think that's a US, yeah, 66 first mono, it says, so I'm thinking that's what that is. I actually had 3 copies of this at one point. Sold a couple, kept one, thank goodness. Elvis Costello and the Attractions. I really like Elvis Costello, but again, it's another thing where I'm like, when I think like, hey, I'm gonna put on some like cool 80s great songwriter like Elvis, I don't know, it just doesn't pop up in my head, and it should more. And now that I've gone through this and done this, it probably will. So there you go. My aim is true. Oh Lord, it's so good. Okay, so Alice Cooper, Pretties for You. I'm not a big Alice Cooper fan, and but the first record, is this the first record? I can't remember. But anyways, the other one that's the red cover, I also really like. I don't know where it is right now. It's not here. I have a copy of that. Because, I don't know. I believe at that point it was like the Alice Cooper band type thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you know what I'm saying, but that's what I'm saying. So Pretties for You is amazing because, and I avoided it for so long because of the later Alice Cooper, which I'm not really like a big fan of, like School's Out era and that sort of stuff. It's okay, man, but I just heard so much of it growing up that it's just doesn't do anything for me. But this is different. This is interesting. And it's not just straight ahead rock and roll. It has some weird quirky stuff going on. It's more glam than anything else. So yeah, this and the other red cover one, which I can't remember the name of, which maybe it's Alice Cooper self-titled. But there you go. That is the last of the C's out of my record collection. I'm not going to groan. Oh, God, yeah, I am when I stand up. Because even though I talk about being a teenage boy a lot, because that's when my musical influence were basically beginning and formed, I am well over 50, and being down that low for that long, you know, it sort of does something to a guy. So there you go. If you guys have any questions, throw them in the comment section. I will put in the description the links to the other, like the A's and B's and the other C in here, and all the other video content that I do, long form for records and vinyl and tapes and collectibles and, God, my garage sale finds and going to the Goodwill bins and digging around in there. I've got all kinds of videos for that stuff, so you might want to check them out. Or you might not. You might want to subscribe, or you might not. Again, I'm not the boss of you. But anyways, I hope you guys are able to find some cool stuff when you're out there digging in the crates. Bye.